Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the WCS Sports Connection. I'm your co-host Jeremy Qualls, and with me as always is Tate Mathews. Tate, it's playoff time. Round one is in the books, man. Fantastic playoff start to the WCS Sports Conference. Before we get into that, let's talk about the state championships. We had one this past weekend, the cross-country state championships. Now, I know that you're an avid runner and you'll have a lot to weigh in on this, but let's talk real quick about what happened. The Brentwood Bruins win the state championship this year on the boys' side, and the girls get runner-up. Now, Brody Hasty, who's a sophomore, won the individual. Tyler Vroon placed third, and Jackson Vroon placed 15th. All three of those runners will be back for next year. Also, on the girls' side, Haley Hendry of Brentwood was runner-up. Addie Coggins of Independence was fourth. Ravenwood girls' team placed sixth. Franklin girls' team placed 16th. And the Independence boys placed seventh. Now, on the AA level, they've combined the single A and the double A groups together. The Page boys team placed sixth. Colin Lamb, a WCS Sports intern this past summer, was the state runner-up. Congratulations to Colin. And the girls' team of Page placed seventh. Now, let's talk about this. Forget the running aside. Let's talk about the WCS Sports Conference. There have been 4 state championships right now in the sanctioned sports. We have won 3 of them. Not only has the WCS Sports Conference won 3 of them, Brentwood has won all 3 of them. The only one we have not won is in girls soccer. We put Page in, so we've qualified for all the state championships. We have football left. Looks like we have several opportunities to win there. We could possibly win 4 out of 5 state championships in the fall alone.
That'd be unbelievable. And you mentioned the Brentwood cross-country team. What a dynasty. That's they got a dynasty in volleyball, but I think it's time to start talking dynasty. And I do know this. Tyler and Jackson Vroon, their mother, Brenda Vroon, is the swim coach at Wildwood where my kids swim. She's the best swim coach in the mid-state. So I do know about that. I see those boys running up the hill on Murray Lane every day. So they're impressive guys. They're very talented, but also a big part of that is a lot of hard work. Those guys, you're a runner. You know, man. Those guys, they got an inner drive that's just in them. So, but you're right. Brentwood's won 3 state championships, and here's the deal. Ravenwood caught them at the very end, second to last day last year. Football didn't even make the playoffs last year for Brentwood. We got a first-round win, which I know we're going to talk about. That was huge. So Brentwood off to another lightning start.
Unbelievable start. Now let's talk about, it was at Steeplechase over in Nashville. Very neat venue. There were a lot of people. If you've never had an opportunity to go to a cross-country, specifically the state championships, very cool atmosphere. Everybody has their tents out. You have your teams and under the tents and whatnot when the start goes, and they shoot the gun. I mean, it's a really cool atmosphere. And they take off. There was 140 runners, and then they bottleneck in, and they run the course there. And at the first mile marker, Brentwood was first and second. At the second mile marker, Brentwood was first and they were fifth. Brody Hasty was about fifth coming through. But as he turned the home stretch, he was so far in front of the next runner that you couldn't even see the second runner. He fell down because the conditions were so bad, fell down in the mud, literally fell down, had to get himself back up and still won by 15 seconds. And 15 seconds in running is a mile. That's a very, very long. So congratulations to those guys. Well, I mean, just a great accomplishment on behalf of Brentwood Track. Now, cross country. Now let's talk about the playoffs. We're talking about the playoffs. Wow. We had 7 of 8 teams get in. Unfortunately, we had 2 fall off this past week. We'll start there on the 3A level. Fairview goes in 7-3, gets Stratford 7-3. We knew going in that was going to be a tough draw for those guys. They end up getting beat 39-0.
Yeah, we knew Stratford. They're a very athletic team. Coach Maurice Fitzgerald's over there now, so they're not the Stratford of old. They've got a very talented team. This was a bad, you hate to make excuses. We're not in the excuse-making business. It's just a bad draw for Fairview. That goes to show outside of 6A, that's why the regular season is so important. One of those losses that they dropped early, had they not had that, they wouldn't have had Stratford in the first round. Now, they'd have ended up seeing either them or CPA sometime, but not in the first round. Stratford's a good football team.
And like you said, even if you won this game, then you have to turn around and play CPA second round, which would be an uphill battle, as we all know the CPA stuff. But congratulations to the Jackets. Coach Hugh's done a great job. Hunter Zimmerman, What a career. Those guys have played a fantastic season. 7-3, like you said, they started off 0-2. Page, battle of 840. They get throttled at Page, and then they turn around and lose their game against Creekwood. That's one of the losses that you're speaking of. They've been, you beat that team who didn't have a very good year. Right. You're in a total different scenario.
I think they were still at that point trying to figure themselves out, kind of get their identity. And you're right, it was just Tough loss. It came back to bite them at the end. But again, another great season. And you and I have been around long enough to know, Fairview up until about 10 years ago, not a whole lot of success in football. So what Chris Hughes and his staff and Dr. Oyer have done with this program is a lot to be proud of. Still 7 wins. And Hunter Zimmerman, hats off to him. 3 years. I'm not exactly sure how many games he started yet, but he started every game since he was a sophomore. That's pretty impressive, man. That's a great career, a great competitor, and a fine young man.
The Yellow Jackets finished the season at 7-4, 5-1 in the region. Congratulations to those guys for a great season. On the 4A side, Page comes in, hosting their first playoff game in 7 or 8 years. They have to play to East Hamilton. East Hamilton came in at 6-4. Unfortunately, the Patriots lose 32-7. Not exactly sure what happened here. We both chose Page to win this game. Really felt confident of playing East Hamilton coming in there at Page and Page getting a win.
I think one of the big things was they got down early, and I don't think that had happened to them at all this season. If it outside of the Marshall County game, outside of that, it hadn't happened much. So East Hamilton, this was another one. It was a bad matchup. East Hamilton's a good program. They're from Chattanooga. Basically what they did is they split off Ottawa and made 2 schools. East Hamilton was the other one. Been around now long enough that they've been able to mature as a school. Very athletic program. They got down, couldn't play catch up.
Absolutely. The Mike and Mike show. We talked about Michael Magochi. Very curious to see what happens in his future. Michael Roberts, what a high character young man he is. If I'm not mistaken, I think he went down with an injury at some point in time in the game. That probably kind of took the wind out of the sails. When your best player goes down, you can, that effect that it has on the other players. But it's been fun to watch the Mike and Mike show and the season they had. They finished the year 7-4 as well, 4-1 in region play. 2 of their losses coming by a combined total of 2 points. So they could have easily gone 9-1 on the season. But Coach Rathbone and his group, hats off for the year that they've had.
I thought it was a great year. They had a very tough schedule. And again, you look at the 4 losses, they're all to very good teams. All of them are still playing.
Well, moving on to the Big Six. Now, Big Six was divided into 2 sections. We have a 5A group and a 6A group. All Big Six schools won. Not only did they win, Tate, listen to this, they won by a margin of 32.8 points.
That's big, man. 6A and 5A football, they all played well. There were some really, really good wins. Very proud of them.
Closest game of the night, which is, you predicted this, was Centennial South win, 20-14. Now, they had to come from behind to win this game. 2-3 minutes left. This game was completely up in the air.
Yeah, it was, and it's been fun. We've been talking about all year. The great thing about the emergence of Mondu Sawyers is we've been able to keep the carries at a minimum for Tyrell Dotson, but we knew it was coming. It just hadn't come in a long time. It hadn't happened really all season. Come nut cutting time, line up. We're going to put a pullback in front of them, and we're going to give the ball to number 25. And Tyrell Dotson delivered, man. He willed them to that win. 3 touchdowns, 2 of them late in the fourth quarter. Again, you got 4 downs to go 10 yards. And I know Coach Rector and Coach Stavo believe if we give the ball to Tyrell Dotson 3 to 4 times, we can get 10 yards, and that's what he did. What an unbelievable competitor he is.
Well, he started into the fourth quarter. It was 7-6 South win, and that score stayed the same forever. And then the final was 20-14. But like you said, Tyrell Dotson, 11 carries, 77 yards. Now those numbers do not even indicate what he brought to the table during this game.
Oh yeah, and he was everywhere on defense. And Southwind, they were the scariest of the Memphis teams that the WCS teams had this week because they are athletic, man. And obviously, I don't know who their coach is, but he's got a good plan. They're not too complicated, but enough to where they do what they do well and they play hard for them. So this was a good win. And again, sometimes early on in the playoffs, as a coach, you were a coach in basketball, you like to maybe have to grit one of these out. I think this will be beneficial for Centennial going on down the road.
Well, they definitely faced adversity the whole first half, couldn't get anything going. Then all of a sudden they erupted there towards the end. It's like you said, when the game is on the line, give the ball to Tyrell Dotson for the win.
Dude, man.
Southwind came in at 8-2. They finished the season 8-3. Centennial moves to 10-1 and move on to the second round of the playoffs. Number 1 in 5A right now, Independence moves to 10-0, beating Canyon Ridge, who came in at 8-2. Moves to 11-0. Canyon Ridge came in at 8-2. They beat them 49-7. I was at that game, and it was the first 2 possessions. You can hear Will Hester all the time say it. You got to survive that first 5 minutes. Survive that first 5 minutes. Cane Ridge came in. They were pumped up, ready to play some football, and played a really good 2 first possessions. I didn't say the first 2 quarters. They played a really good 2 first possessions. It looked to me like Independence was just a little bit nervous, maybe. The conditions weren't fantastic. It was a little wet, a little slippery. Bunch was throwing the ball well. They had a few drop passes early that resulted in punts. Then all of a sudden, they got their mojo back. The dam broke, and all of a sudden, off to the races. It was 35-0 at halftime.
Yeah, it was. And this was neat. You got to think they hadn't been challenged in a while, and Cane Ridge is a very athletic team, so it was very apparent Cane Ridge was going to try to take away the passing game with Andrew Bunch and his stable of receivers. And that's, I would think if I'm Coach Blake, that's something you got to be very, very happy about. You look at this game, the passing game, the wasn't going the way they wanted it to. The weather had a little bit to do with that. Cane Ridge had something to do with that. So what do? They turn to the run game. Andrew Bunch rushes for 3 touchdowns. That's pretty scary, and that's the sign of a really good team. Hey, they can take away what we're best at, and we'll come back and beat them with something else, and they did. And you're right, 49-7, this game could have been a lot worse.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We talk about their offense all the time. Independence defense is something that needs to be talked about. They had a pick 6. They had a big come-up play there right before halftime to get the ball back with 30 seconds to go. It was a fumble recovery, 30 seconds to go, get the ball back. It was not a running clock at that point in time. And they ran 2 plays for a touchdown, obviously, to get 35-0 at halftime. Now, Andrew Bunch, we talk about him, we talk about Nate. Nate had 2 catches for 52 yards, 1 pretty long. It's funny because they didn't take a whole lot of shots down the field. They run a lot of pick plays, get them opening right there in the flat, boom, they catch it. And Nate Johnson, we talked about it off the air earlier. We made a comparison to Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson could attack you vertically better than he could across the middle. Nate Johnson is really, really good after the catch.
That's right.
Getting that yardage after the catch, going through, avoiding people where Van was a whole lot better. Not that he couldn't run the routes, but he would beat you down the field if it's one-on-one coverage. Now, early on in the game, they had the safety. They kept shading toward Nate's side. Coach Blade was wanting the holding call the whole time. They really wore him out at the line of scrimmage. Never could quite get free a whole lot, which opened up the running lanes for Andrew Bunch. He picked and chose his time to run, and obviously he had several 3 touchdowns for rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, and over 100 yards. So, and he didn't. I wasn't there, but I don't think he played much in the 4th quarter. So it could have been more than that too. And you're right. You talk about the defense. I think that's the offense has gotten better every year. Andrew's a senior now. Nate's a senior now. Pierre, Huner, Daniel Wright playing great at running back. So that offense is even better. Every year they get a year older, and so they're really playing at a high level now. Now with this defense, I think that was the missing piece. Very impressive. And shout out to Dr. Campbell. They bust out the playoff jerseys. They came out in the Onyx jerseys. That was Dr. Campbell's deal. Playoff jerseys. And anybody who ever sees them, they're going to look good if nothing else at Independence. And, man, they look good.
They are the best-looking ones in the sports conference. Not sure where they got them from, but we need to check on that. Mathews Team Sports providing the official jersey, but I'm telling you, absolutely knockouts, man. I mean, they had the eagles on the shoulder, the wings on the shoulder pads. They look really, really good. And I was there for the reveal. I would have done the reveal a little differently. I would have had them in a box, slide out, say, what do you think? But they already had them out. So when they came off the field after warming up, it was one of those delayed. It was like a waterfall. You could see it backing up. Kids couldn't get in. They could hear the yelling, what's going on? And then they got in there. They were going nuts. I'm not so sure they were excited about the stickers as much as they were the jerseys. But anyway.
I like the stickers.
We gave them the WCS Sports Conference stickers to go in the back of their helmets. That's one of those things that we want them to be proud of. As long as we're not playing each other, we want to pull for each other, make sure we keep surviving and advancing. But they did survive and advance, and in a big way. Once again, 49-7 over Cane Ridge. Best thing Cane Ridge had for them going that night is their band. Next, Brentwood, 5-5. A lot of people writing Brentwood off. Coming down to Memphis Central. They're Brentwood 5-5. No big deal. Memphis Central 7-3. I believe that Memphis Central woke up on Saturday morning knowing that the Bruins are there. Not only were they there, they left with a 52-7 win.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm excited about all these, but you got to be really excited about that. We knew it. Coach Crawford's one of the best there is. We got a lot of really good ones in this conference now, but he's so good at preparation. And, going into this game, Memphis Central, they were very athletic. They had 3 different offenses, so they had to prepare for 3 different offenses, and they ran each offense with a different quarterback, okay? So, that takes time. Game planning, they were obviously ready on defense, and then we kept talking about the offense keeps getting better. Carson Troy's doing a great job running that offense. They're getting better at the running game, and this has been fun to watch, man. That is a huge win. It's a long road trip. They got to play on the turf. I don't know how nice the stadium is, but I know they had turf. But, making it to the playoffs, first round win for the Bruins, his first year back. You can't say enough positives about it. Now, let's try to get another one. A very familiar opponent, but this is great. If at the beginning of the year you told any of the Bruins fans they're going to be playing second round of the playoffs, I think they'd been very happy with that.
Absolutely. I even have a small bet with one of our people down that's a Brentwood parent. I said, I'll give you a candy bar. Or she bet me that they wouldn't win. I was like, not only are they going to win, they're going to get in.
Yep. That
was the bet first. And I said, I'll take it even further. They're going to win at least one game. So she owes me a candy bar on that. But think about this. 5 losses. They're 5-5 going in. Their 5 losses came from Ravenwood, Franklin, Centennial, Indy, and Henry County.
All of them are still playing.
All of them are still playing.
That's pretty good.
So I hope those coaches realized that when they looked at the record. Probably not. They looked at, obviously looked at film. So that just goes a testament to show we get so complacent with seeing these teams play with it. We really don't know how good they are.
Right. Yeah, I mean the fact that they're all still playing on the Big Six level that made it in, I mean that's impressive. There's not maybe Rutherford County can rival that, maybe. And
we'll see in the bracket.
No, Laverne's out, so
we'll look into brackets in just a second. Ravenwood improves to 10-1, 7-0, beating Bartlett 55-7. No surprises here. The only surprise was what Juice's little brother did Friday night.
Unbelievable, man. 2 receptions, 100 yards, and a touchdown. 4 rushes, 106 yards, and a touchdown. And then Bartlett, they have this thing now called film. I mean, this blows my mind. And I don't want to be, I believe in keeping stuff positive. But they kicked the opening kickoff to Chris Rowland. He takes it 88 yards for a touchdown. I mean, we talked about it at the Overton game, the Ravenwood Overton game. If you kick the ball to Chris Rowland, you get what you deserve. And I'm not even a coach, and I know that. But what a weapon he is, all-around game again. And I think Ravenwood is playing really, really well right now. We've talked all season long about how it's a little bit different than last year. But what's not different is this defense is physical. They fly around to the ball. They're not giving up many points. And on the offensive side, we knew they were going to be good in the running game. And just with the explosiveness of Chris Rowland, I think G2 Bar's got a chance to make another run.
Well, it's interesting. I told Coach Hester that I'm doing the exact opposite of what I did last year. I'm not going to a game until it gets to Cookeville because I am superstitious about that. I rode G2 Bar all the way out last year and they got beat. So I'm going to change the mojo this year for them. They are not the same teams they were last year. Looked like Hollywood last year. This looks like Blue Collar this year.
Right.
I mean, it's total different. Independence has kind of taken the MO of what Ravenwood did last year. This year, total different scenario. They're not throwing it as much. All ground attack. Chris Rowland, 4 attempts on 106 yards, average 26 per carry, 2 touchdowns. Now he had over 300 all-purpose yards. Rapay, 6 carries, 47 yards. He's the quarterback. Connor Jeffries, 7 attempts, 58 yards. They're just wearing people out on the ground. Also, once again, we talked a lot about their defense last year. Their defense this year, I mean, you can't say enough about that as well.
Can't say enough about it. They're, like we said, I mean, they're physical. and they fly around to the ball. They don't make many mistakes. They're fun to watch. Kind of, I guess last year they were Oregon. This year they're Stanford. Either way, they're winning a lot of games.
Either way, they're winning. We wish the best of luck to the Ravenwood Raptors in 6A. To get there, get right back. We'll talk about their road to get there. It's almost a carbon copy of last year, but the next team could throw a wrench in the plan. Doctor of Defense Franklin, Donnie Webb, moves his team to 8-3. Now, if you want to talk about somebody in the preseason, say, hey, Dr. Defense, you're going to be 8-3 at this point in time, and you're going to win your opening round by this much. You'd be like, I'll take it today.
Unbelievable job. Unbelievable job. They've won 6 in a row now, and shout out to Wes Patterson. had to come in, finish the game up at quarterback. What a great job he did. This is a 30-8 win. They took. It was a game they should have won, and they did, and they handled it the right way. And they're just playing very, very well. They're not going to – Franklin, I don't know if there's been many games this year where it was obvious that they had the better talent on the field. But what these guys do have is they play hard, they play smart. And you're right, Dr. Defense has done a great job. Dan Winfrey's done a great job. This is fun to watch, man. The Rebels, what a season so far.
Moved to 8-3, beating Houston 30-8. Like you said, I don't think there's been a game where they have had superior athletes on the field, but they get it done. They get it done the hard way, just kind of like Ravenwood. They ground and pound it out, and then they hit you with a few passes. But defense anchors Franklin down, and they have an opportunity right here to do something special, and that nobody, including us, would have given them a chance to do.
No, they got a chance to be in the quarterfinals. And that option attack that they play with, it makes you be so disciplined. If you're not, and that's what happens a lot of the times. If you're out of position against them, they're going to make you pay for it, and they've done it all year long.
So let's get to it. Let's start on the 5A level. What we're going to do right now, we're going to go a 5A rundown of the playoffs. We'll do a small version of pick'ems. Let's see where we're going to go. We'll talk about the top half of the bracket first, which are all the East teams. So we're going to start right here with winners. Sevier County beat Gibbs 34-20. They face against Knoxville Hall. Sevier County versus Knoxville Hall. Who do you think?
Well, Sevier County is a good football team. They've got a Mr. Football finalist or semifinalist, however you want to say it. Sevier County, I think they'll take care of Knoxville Halls pretty easily.
Speaking of that, I'm glad you said that. We have 3 of the WCS Sports Conference athletes as semifinalists right now. Nate Johnson of Independence, obviously up. Tyrell Dotson of Centennial's up. And Cruz Holt of Ravenwood up for Kicker of the Year. Best of luck to those guys. 3 of those guys, I think, 1 for sure. Automatic win.
I think 2, but hopefully we'll get all 3.
That'd be fantastic.
But I know who your 1 for sure is. And I think you're
Tyrell
right.
Dotson,
Yeah.
obviously.
2-5.
Yeah. All right, Morristown West against Knoxville West. I'm going to go Sevier County with you as well on that. Morristown West versus Knoxville West.
I don't know anything about Morristown West. I do know Knoxville West is the defending 5A state champions. Their quarterback left at the end of the year, but I think they've had enough coming back that I would say Knoxville West. I don't think they win it this year, but I think they win this one.
I don't have any idea about either one of them, but I'm going to take the home team in that. Knoxville West wins that game. Farragut versus Ray County.
I actually went to Farragut my freshman year of high school. They're the Admirals. Eddie Courtney was the defensive coordinator when I was there. He's still there. Here's the deal. Mark Pemberton, a name that rings true around here, the Brentwood coach before Mike Woodward. He's at Ray County. Ray County will boat race them.
Wow. I'm going to pick against you just for
boat race.
Just for the fun of it. Farragut is the home team. I'm going with Farragut over Ray County. Oak Ridge versus Ottawa.
I think this one's a pretty good game, but I do think Oak Ridge has a little bit more talent. I'm going to go with Oak Ridge.
I agree. Oak Ridge is one of those names that keeps getting thrown around and coming out of that top half of the bracket to win. All right, getting to the lower bracket, which is us, all of our teams. Independence, Hendersonville. This could be an unbelievable matchup. Hendersonville coming in 9-1. Independence is coming in. Obviously, they're 10-1 now and 11-0. Let's skip that game. Let's do the other games first.
Okay.
We'll come back to that. Beach versus Hillsborough. The Jekyll and Hyde team of Hillsborough. If Hillsborough shows up, I'm going to pick Hillsborough beating Beach, and I don't think it's close.
Well, they played just a few weeks ago, and I think you're right. I think Hillsborough's kind of playing well now that it's playoff time. More athletic, Hillsborough will get Beach, but it'll be close.
Okay, Centennial Brentwood, we'll talk about it in a minute. Going to the very bottom of the bracket, number 2 coming out of that lower bracket, Henry County versus Clarksville Northeast. This will be a mercy rule. Do we have to go? Can we please stay at home game?
First of all, congratulations to Northeast for winning their first round playoff game. Terry Anderson, great job. You're right. This game is over at the end of the first quarter.
I mean, there's nothing to be said.
No.
It's like you said, Clarksville Northeast beat Brighton, who was 9-1. I mean, that was a shocker. They kept saying that was upset of the night in 5A. Henry County wins. All right, let's go to 6A. We'll come back to our 2 games in 5A in just a moment. Let's start at the bottom half of the bracket. Antioch 0-10. Bless their hearts, had to go all the way to Whitehaven to get hammered. Whitehaven versus Mount Juliet. Sounds like it could be interesting, but Whitehaven wins.
Whitehaven's really good. Whitehaven takes care of them easy.
Franklin will play Wilson Central. We'll get to that game in just a moment. McGavick, White Station. I think McGavick goes down there and gets him a win over White Station.
I'm going to go with White Station, but McGavick gives them a game.
All right. Ravenwood plays Overton once again. We'll come back to that game in just a moment. All right, now top half of the bracket. This is a little different than the 5A section.
Yeah.
Riverdale versus Oakland. Not close. Oakland in a big win.
Oakland is so good on defense. Riverdale they can't do it.
8-2 Science Hill, now 9-2 Science Hill against Smyrna. Interesting matchup. Science Hill's the home team. Smyrna goes there and pulls off a little win at Science Hill.
No doubt about it. Casey Perkins rushes for almost 200 yards.
Siegel at Blackman. Congratulations to Siegel for getting that win. It's kind of one of those things. Congratulations, but now you got to turn around and play Blackman. Blackman wins that one pretty easily.
I think not even close.
Maryville, Cookeville. Now, Cookeville's had a good year.
They have.
Looked good on paper, but looking good on paper and going to Maryville's, that's two different things. Maryville, I think, wins this game pretty easily.
They do. It won't be as bad as you think because Cookeville will shorten the game, controlling the ball in the running game, but Maryville wins easily.
All right, that brings us to our pick-ems. Centennial versus Brentwood. Unfortunately, one WCS Sports Conference team has to go home. This is the 1-3 matchup. Centennial won 24-10 last time they played. I'm going to tell you right now, put it in the books. Brian Rector is going to be watching film. He really didn't want this matchup. Ron Crawford's going in his bunch right now. He's selling, we don't have anything to lose. They beat us 24-10. They think they're better than us. This is going to be a dogfight. Who do you have?
I think that the last time Brian Rector told his team, boys, I'm telling you, this is going to be a dogfight. You better be ready. I don't think they really believed him. I'm not taking anything away from what the Bruins have done. Ron Crawford, like I said, you can't be a bigger fan than I am. But this time, Brian Rector's message is going to get across. He's going to have them ready to play. I think Centennial handles them easily.
I disagree with you.
All right.
I'm going to pick Centennial, but I don't think it's easy.
You bet a candy bar on it?
I think this comes down to the fourth quarter. I think Centennial's poised. They're looking ahead. They want that Indy matchup. They overlook Brentwood. This could be an overtime game.
Holy smokes.
Close, but when it comes down to it, Tyrell Dotson's number's called. Nothing you can do to stop it, Ron. He would agree with me if he was sitting right here. Coach Crawford, keep lifting those weights, but I'm telling you, he's busting through. Number one, Indy at Hendersonville. This is a state championship quality matchup.
Yeah.
I think Independence wins by 2 touchdowns.
This is where you're going to see how much the defense has improved. Hendersonville always puts them out in the playoffs, not this year. Indy's going to score a lot of points, and their defense is going to show how good they are. They'll shut down the rushing attack of the Commandos.
By more than 2 touchdowns?
Oh, double digits easy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Easy.
Ravenwood versus Overton. Ravenwood won last time 38-7. They'll win this time 55-7.
They win easily.
Big time.
G2 Bar.
G2 Bar is poised, thinking straight ahead. He fixes the visor. Ready to go, man. You can't stop G2 Bar. Franklin, 7-3 versus Wilson Central. Franklin won 35-3 last time. Does the doctor of defense make it to the next round?
I don't think they win 35-3, but they win Dr. Defense in the quarterfinals. That's got to be Coach of the Year honors.
I agree. They win. Probably a little closer than 35-3, but if we're looking down the road, man, Ravenwood-Franklin matchup to get into the state championship would be an awful cool deal. Centennial Independence to get themselves a state championship game could be interesting. Could be Brentwood versus Indy. Stay tuned. Next week, you'll find out who wins the second round of the playoffs. This has been WCS Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.
Wicked Technology by S.R. Lee. Wicked technology, tripping up wise, experienced, competent, skilled old folks.